All right. Good morning, everybody. Tuesday, our weekly mastermind that we do. Welcome. We appreciate you guys being here, taking time out of your day. I know we're all busy. We're all doing all kinds of stuff. Hopefully, the year is off to a good start. January is over. We are 1/12 through the year. I mean, it's so crazy. It just goes faster and faster and faster. I know my wife and I, we've got like 9 listings right now. Few that are sitting there. We got several that one went under contract with 6 offers in 3 days. We are seeing that here in Colorado Springs, at least, if they're priced in that price range, these were like 350, 400, and priced well. So they're moving, but hopefully you guys are getting off to a good start. I would tell you, keep going back through some of these trainings. If you haven't watched the recordings of these, go back and find the ones that resonate with you and plug into them. Our Google business page, I just want to emphasize that training that we did that we had Aaron Ken on to do. We have 4 listings right now that have come from our Google business page. We had 3 closings in December that came from our Google business page. And if you go back to October, we didn't have a Google business page. Okay. I mean, we did, but it had done nothing. We had done nothing with it. I took Aaron's training step by step and just started implementing it one thing at a time. I'm in there now every day for about 2 minutes a day. That's it. And our phones are ringing. And again, costing us zero out of pocket. So be sure to go back and watch that training if you haven't. There's lots of good ones in there you can find on our Freedom Team YouTube channel. Also, if you're part of EXP, you can go to the workplace group, click on Freedom Team, click on Learning, and you'll see under there every one of these trainings for the last like 2 and 3 years. They're all there. Okay. So just know that that's where to find them. So today, want to introduce you guys. Shaune Corbett, down in Texas. He's been in real estate full time for about 8 years. He's a 5-time icon with EXP. He is crushing it with his business. He's got a great group down there. They're doing tons of stuff. And he did a training for us way back, probably about 2 years ago now, coming up on that, year and a half at least. And it was awesome. We asked him to come back and do another one. He's got lots of things he could train on. So, but today we're going to talk about, your sphere. And we'll hit that. So, Shaune, why don't you unmute yourself? And man, we appreciate you being in here. Appreciate you doing this. I know you got a lot you can share with us. So I know you're busy, man. We appreciate your time. Thank you so much for doing this.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate it. Jeff and I do go back actually longer than I think, because I've seen him in person a few times. So,
Yeah.
we don't always get to see each other in person, but we've met a number of times at some of the EXP events and the national events. Yeah, I've been in Icon for 5 years. I've been at EXP for 5 years. And I like to really specifically talk about things that are duplicatable, things that anybody can do. And some of the things I'm going to teach don't necessarily specifically have to do with EXP. It's talking about building your sphere of influence and how to properly connect with them. We're going to look at a little math to make it more tangible and controllable and duplicatable. And it's going to be really easy. I'm going to ask them for some feedback. It's going to be a fun topic. All of you in here have something you could add to this particular conversation. It's a pretty easy. We're all doing it. We all should be. And I'll tell you a funny story about where I came from, later on. I didn't actually I never built my business on a sphere of influence. And I'll tell you why and where I came from and how I got to where I'm at. So I actually did a couple of trainings. I did one on how to do taxes for the independent contractors, specifically real estate agents. I actually did a training on the Freedom Team a while back on that, how to maximize your reduction on being an independent business owner, because you guys all are independent business owners. And then I also did a training on open houses. So I've actually done a couple of trainings. So this is the third time I've actually jumped on. I hope it's entertaining for everyone. It's stuff that I'm pretty passionate about. So we're going to talk about sphere of influence. Okay. And what's cool about it is as you build your database and make it a part of your business plan, it's something that you can predict your future, right? When you have the right kind of math and the right kind of touches and you consistently stay in front of everyone, then you can actually predict your future and your success. I'm going to give some examples on why that's the case. So the first thing I want to kind of talk about is, what is a sphere of influence? What does it mean to you? If I ask you to describe your sphere of influence, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Family and friends.
Okay, family and friends. I think that's a pretty easy one for most of us. What else? There's a lot of ways to define it. So go ahead, let's talk. Kelly, you're raising your hand. Uh-oh. Yeah, I think she's raising her hand in her office. Anyone else have sphere of influence? What does it mean to you?
People you
People that
have a
you can talk to
relationship.
every day.
Mhm.
Okay, people you talk to every day. What was the other one?
You have relationships with, like, people at school, your children's school, football field, different things like that.
Church.
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 Okay. All good examples.
People you
know,
do life with.
I like that, Fred. Very good comment. Fred's my business partner. He jumped on here. I appreciate it, Fred. Thank you. Supporting me. Thank you. I've actually got a number of my team people on as well. I appreciate you guys. Has anyone built the real estate business without a sphere of influence? And this is a little harder to think about, but think about if you move to a new area, you're brand new in real estate, you know nobody. At some point, you're building a business without anyone specifically you know. Has anyone ever had to go through that?
I haven't, but I've had mentees do that.
You can imagine working in a cold market where you know no one. How much harder is that? And it's important for you to get your mind around that, because knowing the struggle of trying to work with people that don't have a relationship with you, you got to do a whole lot of, I don't want to use the word convincing, but a whole lot of work, additional above and beyond. When you have a sphere of influence referral lead, how much easier? Do you have to do much explaining? Do you have to tell them, about yourself? Do you have to do presentations? These are things I want you all to think about, the difference of the time and energy it goes into either one of them. And, ultimately, if we had our choice, I think everybody on this call would work, 100% sphere of influence if you could. If you had full control over it. They take the least amount of effort. They have the highest conversion rate. You ain't paying any referrals. Maybe the friend that sent you something, maybe you send them a gift card or something, but it ain't 30%. So those are really important things to kind of keep in mind when you're looking at the difference between spending your time building a sphere of influence and working on cold leads. All right, so I want you to kind of think about when you first started. Most of you, especially those that are mentors, this is where you really kind of see it play out. You may not remember specifically when you started, but when you're coaching someone and you bring someone in and they're brand new to the business, I tell you, inevitably, they all get one or two pretty quick, easy deals, okay? Because they have sphere of influence people that love and want to take care of them, give them opportunities, right? So, it's really important to think about how easy that was to get started. And I think most of us, in general, we would prefer to do business by referrals. Do you go out and cold call people, or do you work your database first when you need something? I think most of you probably go to your database and work people that you either have a connection with or someone referred you to someone, right? That's a really, think about that, like that mindset. You want to be that person for the people that are referring, right? That's where you want to land. That's where you want to be, is be top of mind. The easiest the easiest conversions are referrals because they come from people that care, like, and respect. That's what I've heard as a definition of sphere of influence, people that care, like, and respect you. Now I'm going to give you a different definition that's going to be even more tangible. We're going to talk about what that looks like. You're going to generate 100,000 a year on just this single lead source by following a full yearly executable campaign. And it's very easy to do. Okay. It isn't going to happen today. It's not going to happen in 6 months. It takes a consistency of doing some specific things, staying in front of that sphere of influence, being top of mind, and then they will give you ongoing referral sources. And at some point, you'll never work a cold call in if you don't want to. I mean, you can certainly refer it to your own internal network. I do a lot of that myself. I don't generally work with people I don't know. That's just been a general rule for me, and I'll have reasons for that. There's a purpose, there's a why I do a lot of that type of stuff. So here's the real critical thing, and this is where I took from a book. I'll give you the author. Well, his name is Brian Eisenhower. Anyone ever seen SOI, Building a Real Estate Agent Sphere of Influence? Anyone ever seen that book or heard that book? I would say probably about 9-10 months ago when I was beginning this journey, I wanted to find resources to help me kind of get my mind around it. There's not a lot of specific SOI real estate specific books. Okay. There's probably a ton of YouTube videos, a lot of trainings out there specific, but just I do Audible. I work out in the morning. I blow through a book about every 2 weeks. And I said, you know what? I want to feed myself a sphere of influence book. So I went and I found this one. And he talked some specific stats that really make a lot of sense in your business. And the one thing that he took away, or that I took away from his stats, is you'll expect one additional closing for every 7 people you personally know and touch all year. Okay. Out of 7. Now, it doesn't work that we have 7 friends and we get 1 referral a year. That's not the math. The math is we have numbers. We have to have 100, and we'll get through this. But if we have 100, that's 7 closings. For me initially, I immediately had 250. I should expect 35 closings on 250 primary sphere of influence. And I'm going to teach you what primary means. Okay, that's 35 closings. So, and I know that has to be true because I'm closing, more than 70, 80 houses a year and it's slow for me. 2 years ago, I did 120, because the market's come down. I think most of us probably have experienced the market's been not in our favor. So we really need to focus on building our effective sphere of influence to save some money and continue to have higher probability of closings. So it's 1 in 7 is the number. So how do we stay in front of them? What does the touch system look like? What are some options we can do with that? You can tell the success of a real estate agent by the size and quality of their database. Okay. You can tell the success of a real estate agent by the size and quality of their database. And I mentioned this before, it's the cheapest way to work a lead. A $50 gift card's not too bad when you're, making 3% on a $500,000 house. So I'm going to tell you quickly my background. I don't mean to do all the talking, but I just kind of want to lay the groundwork on this. So I started in real estate actually back in 2005. I got a license. Mike, do you have a question? Or you adjusting your mic? Okay, all good. So I started back in 2005. I got a license. I worked for a company. They had a number of companies, and one of them was a home builder, and the home builder was selling $1 million homes. So I made the proposition to the owner. I said, hey, get me my real estate broker license, and I will sell your houses at no cost. Okay. You think that's not a bad proposition for them, but for me, I paid nothing to get into real estate. I paid nothing for my continuing ed, nothing for my broker license, nothing for the continuing cost. And it allowed me to also, if I wanted to, help buyers and sellers. Okay. When I got my license and got my broker license, I never worked for another broker that taught me really anything. I didn't work for KW or Coldwell Banker. I didn't work for any of them. I've always kind of been on my own. I'm a natural entrepreneur. I saw vision. I saw what I could do. I saw what people were doing. And I thought, well, if they can do it, I can do it. I can put a sign in the yard and kind of start working it. Where my friends want to buy a house. Okay, well, I know how to show houses. I've got my super key. Let's go show houses. And I just kind of started winging it. And they wanted to make offers. The one thing I could do was write contracts. I knew contracts very, very well because the builder I worked for forced me to know everything about the contract. He's very detailed. So by that, it allowed me kind of learn the entire real estate business specifically from contracts. Kind of a strange way to build a business, but that's how I started. I didn't have a sphere of influence because I didn't work a sphere of influence, I should say. I still got referrals, but I didn't work it because I had a full-time, executive position. So I did that for 10 years. I was an HR vice president, and eventually that didn't work out. As most of the places I've ever worked, I'm not employable. I don't know if any of you can relate to that, but I pretty much get fired from every job I've ever gotten. I'm not an employable person. I guess I'm just too free will and I want to do what I want to do. So unfortunately, or fortunately, it forced me to learn how to make money for my family selling real estate. So you get pretty hungry to find ways to solve real estate problems. So I moved into that. I opened my brokerage. I started adding agents. I mean, imagine trying to create splits when you don't even know how to do real estate, right? So I said, well, 70-30 sounds fair. So I started making up splits and I started adding agents. And over time, I ended up with about 10 agents. I had my own brokerage, True West Realty. And I did that and that's my logo behind me. I had to add group because, because I work for EXP and I'm in Texas. So I'm not my own independent broker anymore. But I had my own brokerage. I set up the splits. We did our own parties. We did the whole thing. I did all that. And it's funny because the last year of me doing that, I probably sold about $7-8 million personally. And then I came over to EXP, and my first year I sold like 24 million. When you take all of the braces off, right? The liability, responsibility, and all the other requirements as being a broker. And I wasn't required to train or teach anyone because EXP provides a lot of that platform for that. So it allowed me just to focus on selling real estate. And I still did not build a sphere of influence at that time because I already had a pretty good network, and market was generally pretty good just prior to COVID. And then when COVID exploded that first year or two, wow. I mean, I'm on the listing side, so it was especially beneficial for me during COVID that I could sell anything by not even listing it. I mean, they would just get multiple offers. You put a sign in the yard. Obviously, a lot of that changed. And when the market started coming down the last 2 years, I got into the third year, which is last year, of the market declining for me in my production. I realized that I'm going to go out of business if I don't start building an effective sphere of influence and staying in front of my network. And then that's when I got into reading that book. That's when I started looking at it mathematically. And that's where I started realizing that they are the easiest source of leads. And I want to build 100% referral business. I mean, if there's several specific reasons most of us should be looking at building a sphere of influence. You get to choose who you work with. Anybody want to do that? Or do you just work with whoever gets thrown at you on a Zillow or a realtor.com lead and that's what you live on? That's painful. I mean, it's struggling, it's frustrating. I listen to the people going through Zillow calls every day, and Zillow now, they had this market time of last year where they basically call you just to show houses and I've got an agent, right? I mean, it's just this endless cycle of frustration. So getting to choose your own clients is a big win. Is there any other thing you could think of why you would be wanting to move to 100% referral-based business? What other benefits are there?
And Shaune, I think about how just, you're already sold to them. I mean, you mentioned this, you don't have to convert that lead in that sense. You know what I mean? If here's a past client and they had a great experience with you and now they're sending somebody that you don't know, but they're sending them to you. Like, that's just the stamp of approval on you. It's like, they're just like, come list my house. Come, we're ready to go look at homes, and we hear that you can help us do it. Like, what's the next step? What do we do? I mean, it's so much easier in that sense. Cost effective. I mean, how much money are we spending on marketing? Some of us, to bring in leads. I mean, thousands of dollars. I've done it, thousands and thousands of dollars, just to bring in leads. When I had my team, I mean, we're doing $14,000 a month, in overhead between a couple of people on staff and lead generation to feed those agents the leads that they needed. It's expensive. So a couple thoughts there, but
Absolutely. So we want to be 100% referral-based business. There are other benefits. You identified the cost savings for sure, the lack of time you've got to spend up front to prove that you know what you're doing. Those are really good, especially on credible, reliable referral sources. If you choose your own clients, it also means you can choose your own hours. So I'm going to say something, it's a little outlandish, I think, for most of us. We're in the real estate agent business, and most of us have this thought where I just answer every time I get a call. What if I told you you could make a business where you don't work weekends and evenings in real estate? Most of you probably think that's not possible, but I'm telling you, when you can control and manage your clients and you tell them when you're available or when we're going to show, it's not insulting to them. They don't need to know your schedule. At 4:30, I go pick up my son every day. He's 9 years old. I don't need to tell them that. I mean, that's not, relevant for them. I just tell them, hey, we can show houses from 3:30, to 4:15. And then I've got my next appointment start. I mean, there's ways to kind of manage this. We have this, we don't turn off syndrome. And I tell agents I work with often, I said, hey, our option period's not going to end on the weekend. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you that. I tell them that. I said, I'm not interested in it. Contractors aren't available to give us bids. We can't finish it. We're not going to finish on a Saturday at 5 o'clock or Sunday at 5 o'clock. We're going to finish on Monday. So that way everybody is good and we're not stressing. And I'm nice about it. I'm telling you emphatically, though, building your schedule sometimes takes a little bit of being emphatic about your business. All right, we talked about zero lead generation costs. So in the high level view, this is a really kind of an EXP thing. And this is me kind of coming into the business, realizing how EXP works. Our goal is to cap, right? So we cap first. It's our first goal. Our second goal is to get to icon. And then after Icon, we want to focus on 100% referral-based business. That means you not only manage your schedule and you're getting all your cap back, but you're effectively maximizing your return, at that point. Because the EXP has given me like $70,000, $80,000 in stock back. I don't know why I would look at another place to live or work, right? I mean, I just, I think that's really relevant. What's not in your SOI? This is really important, okay? Because I want to kind of start defining what's SOI versus not SOI. What are some things that would not belong in your sphere of influence and staying in constant contact with them? Who would not belong there?
Time thieves.
Okay. People you don't want to work with. I mean, that might be a way you're trying to describe that. Just people you don't want in the database or you want to work with. Eugenia, I think you had something.
I was going to say someone that's not your fan. It's not your raving fan.
Okay. We don't want to stay in front of someone that we know is not going to refer us business, is toxic, and they're not our fan. How about a cold lead I just got on Zillow? Do we want to roll them in a constant touch? You might have a 1 in 10 chance they're going to be cool with that. But if they don't know you, there's not a relationship. We may not want to be in constant contact with them through video chat and things like that. Someone you met at an open house. Remember, there's not any relationship. We just met them on the purpose of real estate. Maybe we don't want to stay in front of them because we're going to talk about doing a lot of things that have nothing to do with real estate because we want to stay top of mind. Not top of mind, hey, you need to sell or buy a house. Hey, you need to sell or buy. That's not what I'm talking about. No one wants to talk to anybody that's always in that role. Every parent on your kid's sports team email list. That's a real good place to go for opportunities to grow your sphere of influence, but we're not going to put them all in our blast and we're not going to constantly stay in front of all of them on an ongoing basis. I think that one is one most of us as parents, and I'm learning, I'm brand new to this. I got a 9-year-old son. He's in lacrosse. He's done soccer. I'm starting to get all these email lists and emails are really powerful. We're going to talk about what emails can do for you, but it doesn't give me the license to just blast everyone and keep them on a constant rotation. I'll have that relationship with them, right? So let's not enroll them. And you don't need 1,000 people in this group. Very important. If you guys can focus on getting to 100, and we're going to talk about what that means on the primary, that's all we're looking for. And every person on this call has got 100 people they've got on their primary list. And they don't have to live in your state or city. You just want to stay in front of them because they're good referral sources. And if you didn't know, EXP is all over the world. I've closed houses in multiple states because I'm that source that they come to for real estate. Every friend you're connected with on Facebook that you went to school with. Oh, yeah, probably not a good place to just hit everybody up just because you knew them for 20 years. If there's not a personal relationship ongoing, we may not want to include them in that list. And the other thing, think about it. If there's no obligation to refer you business, like I don't know if people have obligation in general, but I wouldn't put them in that category. They really got to think, wow, Jeff is really sharp. I know he's good at real estate. I'll definitely, send people to him, even if you're not talking every day. People you connect on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is not really a social media for personal connections, right? It's really supposed to be professional. We're not there to, share tips about staging or show our sales. We're there to help other people engage in real estate and teach them some things, that just always keep those things in mind. All right. The very first thing I want to share with you, and this is the definition I'm going to operate under. Okay. I generally operate in 4 categories that I want to define my contacts. And the first one, the most important, where I'm talking about sphere of influence, is primary. I'm using the word primary to identify them. And what I mean is primary is people that know you by first name. That's a really good place to build from. You know them by first name, they know you by first name. Okay? Really, really critical, because if you can start there, then I don't have to explain or share or do things to prove who I am, that you know me well enough, you know my name. I think there's some relevance there. It's a great place to start. And at a minimum, the very first step we want to do is, and I put in my view of looking at the plan, is build your primary list with 250 names. I think at 100 plus, you are in business. Okay. That's an effective list to stay in front of. I would say 100 plus, you're at a really effective place. Because remember, at 7 leads every one to every 7, right? That's 7 closings on 100 names you personally stay in front of. I think anybody on this call would love to have 7 closings. Okay. Referral base. We don't have to sell them anything. The most important thing you're going to want to collect is both the phone number, which you should already have, and then email address. The email address is the specialty one. So I'm going to give you a little tip here. You're going to go through your entire database on your phone. You're going to look at each identified person and you're going to qualify them as one of 4 things. It's primary, secondary. Okay. That means that they would know of you, but they don't know you by first name necessarily. And you might not remember them by first name, but you're in the same circles. Those can maybe be some people on the soccer team. You see them every week. You talk to them every week. Maybe you're not that directly engaged with them, but they could probably fit on the secondary list. Like, we want to stay in front of them. They just aren't our primary. Like, they don't want to hear from us all the time at that point. The third thing is agents. Anybody here think it would be a benefit to have a database in your phone of personal relationships that you have with agents? Think that would be pretty valuable? Identifiable means that it's tracked in your phone. You can take that and you can export it. I'm going to talk about what we can do with this information. And then the 4th thing I use is I call it other. Other means my title company, my other people in real estate that aren't agents that are probably not going to refer me deals, but I need them in my phone. My personal, any services that you have completed on your house, your HVAC service, any of these type of things, that's your relationship with them. And you need them in your phone so you can call them, but you're not going to probably stay in front of them on an ongoing basis. Okay. Primary, secondary, agent, other. So there's a way. I'm not going to be able to teach all of you everything at once, but there's a way to categorize on them. On the Apple iPhone, they have a list option at the bottom of it, and you can create lists. And I created those 4 lists. And the reason why I created those 4 lists is now I can export them into KV Core, Contact Plus. I'm using Boomtown. Okay. It's a list that I can use and I can make use of, and I can manage it. And now I have them separated. When I did this for the first time last year, I had over 4,000 names in my phone. Okay. And out of 4,000 names, I drilled it down to about 3,000. I got rid of a lot of junk, just bad stuff that got pulled in. And then from there, I categorized every single person. It took me weeks. Okay. It took weeks for me to do this. And I ended up with about 700 plus names that were primary. You think that's a lump of gold that I just found, that I can stay in front of 700 people that know me by first name that are not agents? So that's where I came on to that. Okay. That was last year. I use a program and I would recommend it. I think it's $100 a year. It's called Contact Plus, and it should work with both Google or Android and Apple. And what it does is it allows you to have a manageable contact, interactive, live interaction. So if I delete someone on my phone, if I add an email on my phone, it goes right into Contact Plus. I guess it wouldn't hurt for me to share some of this stuff. Find my window. Oh, 1 second. There it is. So I'll share my screen in just a second here. Let me get Contact Plus open. Anyone use Contact Plus?
I haven't heard of it. Good to know.
All right. I haven't been in it in a while, but I update it because it's in the background, right? It's all constantly being updated. So I'm not actually getting on it very often. All right, here we go. Jeff, give me a yes. You can see my screen.
Yeah, we got it.
Okay. So here's my database. So it's in there. It's got all these different people, tenants, people in Boy Scouts, all my connections. And I usually will, in my subject line, I'll put whatever the connection is. So I got Paul. I just put him in. He's a tenant that I just put into a house that I rented out. And I'll put his full name in an email. I haven't got that in there yet because I literally just put it in. I guess it's putting in the order of people I put in. I have him as a secondary. Paul does not know me by first name, but I have a relationship with him in real estate. So at some point I'm going to reconnect with him, and we have a relationship. I've talked to him about renting the house. We know each other, not friends or anything, but eventually I'll move him into primary when he and I start having conversations about where is he going when he's done with his lease. And then my admin, she keeps up when people's leases end, and I call them and talk with them and kind of work through that. So what's cool about this is it also has the ability to update my database. So it automatically goes out there, I think, to like LinkedIn, and it looks for the latest information. So I can apply the updates, and then it updated the people there. And then it looks for duplicates. So it sees duplicate things like that. So if I merge it all, it merges them all into the individual thing. So there's no longer duplicate. So there's not 2 emails, there's not 2 phone numbers, things like that. And then it has a cleanup section, or basically people in there that have emails that don't work, or they're just empty. I have nothing about them. So either I can go in and look them up and find out who they are, or I'll just remove them. Here, I'll just remove them. And when I remove them here, it removes them from my phone number or from my phone. So I can go either way. Using it on the screen here is way easier. And when I'm ready, I can just basically select everybody and then export it into a spreadsheet. And then I can spreadsheet enter into wherever I want to send it. Okay. Contact Plus is a really effective database management system. But, I guess the most important thing I wanted to share is that you also have the ability to pull them by tags. So Contact Plus uses tags instead of, where are they at? All right, I'll just do it this way. So Paul, I want to go to add tag. Remember I mentioned 4 tags: agent, other, primary, and secondary. He's already listed as secondary, so it doesn't come up as an option. Every single person in my database has one of those tags. So when I'm ready to send out a newsletter to my primary sphere of influence, all we do is export everybody, pull out all the primaries, and then email all the primaries. Okay. It's a little extra step. There are easier ways to do this. This is a long story how I ended up with this one, but Contact Plus makes it so I can go and use any program. Okay. That's kind of why I kept it. It's $100 a year. Any questions on kind of building that initial sphere of influence and going through each person, identifying what their relationship is with you? Oh, email address. I want to make sure I emphasize this. The most important thing you can get from any particular client or relationship, the most important thing you can get is an email address. And I learned this from another book that I was reading because I was looking at building an online presence doing YouTube. And then I want to create sellable content on how to train and help agents do certain things. I want to create this. That's eventually where I want to go. And I was doing a study on him. And he said the very most important thing you can collect from anyone is email address. And the reason why the email address is the most important thing is, let's say I build a YouTube program or channel and I start adding subscribers, and subscribers start buying products from me. And this is just kind of like forward thinking. Okay. You don't have to do this today and know it today, but there's a reason where it's going. If YouTube, which they will, or Facebook changes their algorithm, changes their system, they can turn you to 0 overnight. If you have email address and you have subscription-based systems, that email address you can now carry with you somewhere else and your business doesn't shut down. Okay. So if YouTube cans us, then we can move into another online video management system. Okay. And it's inevitable. It happens. I can't control their algorithms and things they do. They can throttle me. They can do things like that. You guys hear about all these things all the time. If it happens to you, you own those email addresses. Now you can continue to operate your business. Very important that you get email addresses, not to mention of the touches that we do. I mean, 30 or 40 of them, or let's say 20 to 30 of them are primarily going to be based on having an email address. I'll tell you something as an extra tip. If you have an email address, you can actually anyone ever built a custom audience in Facebook to do ads? No one's ever done that before. Okay. You can build a custom audience in your on your business side, and you can target that custom audience. The custom audience, you can actually import the email addresses and it will go find those people. So when you have a message in Facebook on your Facebook business page, it will make sure it stays in front of the people that are in your primary list. You want to talk about an instant way to always stay in front of others? That's an easy way to do it. So if you have clever things that you would like to share in real estate, and you want to make sure that at least your primary hits it. I don't care if the other people that don't know me don't hit it. That's not really as critical, but you want to stay in front of your primary. Remember, this will ring home for you. Have you ever had someone, a personal friend, family, someone you talk to all the time, and they call someone else and buy a house with somebody else? Tell me everybody in this call has had that happen. Okay, all of us have. What if I told you it's because you're not top of mind? It isn't anything personal. Now, it could be personal. Maybe they think you suck, but probably not. It's probably because you just weren't top of mind, right? That's generally the challenge. How do I stay in front of everybody without being a broken record? Hey, you got to buy or sell a house. Hey, no one wants to be around that person. So we're going to talk about ways to get there. I'll tell you one quick story. My next door neighbor, I sometimes talk way beyond just selling and buying houses, and I get myself in trouble because they don't even realize that I'm a realtor. So I was talking to the next door neighbor. They have a ton of equity in their home. And I said, hey, what do you think about investing in real estate as a way of building long-term net worth versus the stock market? And they said, man, we would love to do that. And I said, well, I have an easy way for you to do that. You can do a cash out refi or HELOC. And then from that, we can buy a property locally that I'll take you from start to finish and I'll teach you all about. And they said, wow, that's a great idea. So they went and got a HELOC, got the money out. And that week they did that, his parents got divorced and they needed her to move in. So they went out and started looking at homes at open houses. They hired an agent on the spot, signed a buyer rep agreement on an open house, and then came back and said, hey, guess what? We're moving. I said, moving? We were just about to do a rental property. And he said, no, we're going to move. And we're already looking at some new builds with an agent. I said, an agent? What do you think I do for a living? And they're like, you sell houses? I thought you just did investment properties. I'm like, oh my gosh. And then, they bought a $1.3 million house. It's incredibly frustrating that I give them way beyond solutions that they could even imagine. And they didn't even think about me to help them buy a home. So I've learned this. That was a painful lesson. And that was one of the things that kind of got me into this. I really need to make sure I stay in front of my sphere of influence in a very good way, So that was that. And I've gotten tons of stories. I'm sure you guys all have stories like that. I wish we could talk. We only got 20 minutes left. So from doing that and going through that pain, I'm like, I don't want to see that happen again. I at least want to have a shot. I don't have to be hired. That's fine. There's other reasons that are beyond my control, but I at least want to have the opportunity for you to come and tell me, hey, by the way, we've got to use my wife's sister, because it's going to happen. Definitely want to have real estate professional relationships that are reciprocal. You want to make sure you cover all those in your database too. That's lenders, title companies, inspectors, insurance providers. Where you benefit them, they benefit you. Those are really important people to have in there. We're going to talk about, we export all the contacts. We talked about that. Oh, very important. So I have this question come up. What do you do if you've got a contact in your email? You have a good relationship, very good. You could have known them for 20 years. You just had no reason to ever email them. How do you get their email address? It's going to come up. You got to get emails in your database in order for this to effectively work.
Just call them and tell them that you're updating your database or something.
Awesome, Jennifer. That's exactly what I do. I send them a text. I even just text. Most of the people I talk to, text is fine. And I just tell them, hey, I don't have your email on my database. I'm trying to update it. Exactly right. Totally non-threatening. And then you're going to tell them that you're going to spam them every day. No, I'm kidding. But totally reasonable, right? No issue with that. I got a good relationship with them. So that's a very good, and you can do that on Facebook and other ways you connect with them. Facebook, hey, I'm updating my database. I don't even have your phone number in my phone. What's your phone number and email address so I can update it? I do that on LinkedIn often too. People that I actually have a good relationship with, I'll ask them for things like that. And it's generally non-threatening. There's one other thing you could do. I'm not going to teach it or do it here. You could do birthdays. I'm not real high on birthdays, just because I think everybody plays that out all the time. I try to do, I'll give you an example. I'm going to show you a program that I use to stay in front of people. I use EvaBot. Anybody ever used EvaBot before? It's a gift giving program. Okay. And I have a choice. I usually give gifts based on my relationship. I sold them a house. I'm going to send them a house anniversary gift. And I do it every year. Okay. And but if I don't sell them a house, like let's say they move out of state or they get an apartment, instead I'll do the birthday thing just to stay in front of them. But instead of sending it on their birthday, I send it a week before their birthday. And I said, what's better than getting a gift on your birthday is getting a gift a week before your birthday. So I kind of have a little fun with it, but I generally try to stay away from the Christmas and the birthday. And honestly, it really has to come from you personally, right? That's just not my personality. So it wouldn't ring as well. For some of you, they get it, they love it, they know that's really it's a good comment. Abby's actually on my team too. Competition is already there. And you guys are posting comments. I'm not even looking at it. Competition with partners to send out most e-cards. Help me, I lost last year. Works always. So you want to share, Abby, your thoughts?
Yeah, sorry, I just had surgery last week. But what I learned it from another lady. She was trying to get emails to thousands of people on her list, and she didn't know what to do. So she said her husband actually told her to say that they are in competition of who can send out the most cards. I think it was for Christmas or Thanksgiving, but she wasn't specific about what was going on then, and that she should just call everybody that she needed the email and tell them, hey, help me out. I lost last year. I must win this year. Otherwise, I'll be referred to as a loser. She said she called about 750 and she got close to 600 emails because her friends wanted her to be a winner, not a loser. So the calls help.
Good job. I like it, Abby. I mean, it's an opportunity, right? So we're collecting emails, and the way to collect emails, we can create a fun competition with that. That's good to roll maybe in a secondary database. On the primary database, we want to have warm relationships. It's not necessarily quantity, it's quality, right? We want to have that engaging opportunity for us to be able to connect with them, or they can immediately say, oh, hey, Shaune, like they know me. You really want to build that. And the other way is just that it's kind of like, hitting a cold market and blasting it just to get anyone that'll connect with it over a period of time. I really want to stay focused on primary, on people we have a relationship with. That's really, I think, gonna help us build faster. I was thinking about like my YouTube channel. I don't have a lot of traction on, but I've created hundreds of hours of content. And that's okay because I'm still looking at building and looking where I'm going with it. My main thing is I want to have the people that are on it, that are engaged with it. We have a good relationship and they're going to respect the things that I'm sharing and teaching. And I'm not looking for thousands of followers. I'm good in the hundreds. And as long as I have ongoing regular connection with them, that's going to work for me in my business because I have a very high success rate of closing referral partners, very high. So I don't need thousands to get there, and you don't either, so we're not just trying to reach for as high as we can. We want to get, good workable people that know you by name. So our goal is to primarily touch our database 40 times a year. That's our number. So 1 in 7 and 40, that's our two biggest, numbers that we want to focus on. 1 in 7 that you touch 40 times a year is going to give you an opportunity on a referral. Be systematic and consistent. The more personable, the higher the connection rate. You guys ever get Christmas letters from people, relationships, people you know? Okay. What's a Christmas letter? What can you say about it? Kate, what do you think about it? What is a Christmas letter?
They're actually great because you kind of review your past year, and it gives somebody a reason to call you back or write you back and say, hey, I really enjoyed reading about your successes and life happens.
Kate?
Oh, Sometimes I just make sure they're alive and then I kind of recycle it. I don't read the letters necessarily.
Okay. So maybe the relationship would make a difference, right? I mean, if it's your best friend wrote a letter, you might read it, or maybe you already know everything about it, maybe you wouldn't. It's really kind of creating, it's a personal touch to an opportunity to stay in front of them. I've not sent them out myself. I'm not saying that's part of my business plan. Again, that's not necessarily my personality, but I think it's an engaging opportunity because I have read letters from other people that I know almost in secondary market, maybe not the primary, but I like, oh, that I'd like to hear kind of what's going on with them because I haven't talked to them. You know, those type of things, the more personal, the higher the connection rate, the better chance we have for them remembering you. Frequency is more important than the type of contact. Okay. Staying in front and just being top of mind is more important than that specific type. Like we don't want to Facebook every day and we don't want to send them an email, 6 times a month, but we want to stay in a certain level of consistency through the year. So I'm going to talk a little bit about an example of what things we can do. And then I'm going to give you some specific options on things you can add to what you're doing. Most of us know about the monthly newsletter. Okay. And have you ever heard, so mine is terrible. Okay. But most of you, let's say someone said, hey, if you want to be successful, you need to get in front of the camera and record videos. I bet every person on this call has heard that. Every person. And what are you guys doing? You're all doing it? A lot of you are still hesitant. You don't want to do it. You don't want to get in front of it. But was it amazing when you did it? Probably not, right? We're doing YouTube videos. We're just trying to, it's unnatural. So we got to practice, right? We got to do it, and we got to do it in practice and continuously do it. I'll show you anybody use Keeping Current Matters? Okay. Do you have to use it through KV Core? Do you use that one, or do you use it through Keeping Current Matters separately? I'm going to ask you second, Kate. Go ahead, Jeff.
I do post the blog every day in my KV Core. We do that Monday through Friday. I just copy and paste it over there. So that's what I do with that as far as KV Core with Keeping Current Matters. Otherwise, I use all the posts and different things. Yeah.
Okay. Kate, what do you do with the newsletter?
I upped my game and keep matters current, and I use the scripts. And so I just go out and I do a quick video using the scripts, and then I add statistics from national all the way to hyper local, and that's pretty much my video.
Okay. Keeping Current Matters has, just for you guys that don't know, has a really clever way for you to get in front of an audience and talk like you know what you're talking about. They're 1-minute scripts. You talk about a particular subject, and I've done it. I've done probably 30 or 40 of them myself. And I used to post them every periodically. Now I'm building a library of them. I don't know what I'm going to do with it because I prefer to create more like 6 to 8 minute topical things on teaching something. That's kind of my style. Like I did one on how to fight and win taxes on property taxes. I did one on that. Got a bunch of hits on that. But I like that stuff. That's me. But for those that want to get engaged and start in this process, really easy. It's on your screen. You have it in portrait mode. You're talking on it. And portrait mode is important because it's going to show up as a short, or you can use it as a short. You can use it on Instagram, and it'll have a script, and it'll tell you what to say, and then it'll have pictures to go along with your script, so it all kind of flows together. And it's really clean. It's easy. Great way to get started. What I'm referring to is the newsletter thing. That's really kind of where Keeping Current Matters built their business, is doing blogs, available materials to share, and newsletters. So this is mine that I'm using. Can you see that, Jeff?
Yeah.
Okay, real simple. It's just me basically saying, hey, if you like what you hear, subscribe. And it says 58 seconds, so people are likely to click it because it's less than a minute. And then it's going to talk about, I think it goes into the first one, dramatic impact on home ownership, all built in within that video. And then it has a couple of other topics. This is really simple and canned, okay? But if I told you that you needed to produce professional quality videos, none of you would ever start in the video creating process. So I needed something up and running, and it took me 6 months just to get to this, just in the way I'm staying in front of my audience. So I started this back in December. I've sent January, and I'm having a pretty high success rate of people getting on and clicking on it and reviewing it. And then it shows how long they watch the video and all the cool things. I'm using, is it Boomtown? I think it's Boomtown. I always forget the name. It's either Boomtown or the other one.
Is
Or
it
Bomb
Bomb?
Bomb. Maybe it's Bomb Bomb. I think maybe I'm using Bomb. It's basically specifically good for sharing video content through email and staying in front of your audience. And I've been using that. I don't use KV Core because it doesn't work real clean on doing what I'm trying to do here. So it may take you a little work to get comfortable with it. Find a newsletter system. It doesn't have to be sharp and professional. I'm using a simple canned one just to get something up and running and stay in front of that primary list every month. Okay. That's one easy way to do it.
And Shaune, those links, I'm assuming on underneath the video were links back to the KV Core blogs. Is that what those were?
KCM, I think.
Oh, I mean, Keeping Current Matters. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Keeping Current
It's-
Matters. Yeah.
That's correct. Yeah, it goes back to the blog and
Okay.
it has all of your, information, has my information, has my colors. So it looks like it's me, in kind of a sense.
Sure.
But it's still fairly canned. But I just said, you know what? I don't care. I got to get it up and running. I've been waiting. It took me like 3 months just to get my database cleaned up. And it took me another 4 or 5 months, whatever, to get into even sending out my first newsletter.
Yeah.
So it's taken me a while to get up and running. I know just to get things going. All right, let me keep going. So monthly, okay, everybody on here should know how to do monthly home value updates, right? So we can do automated CMA opportunities. I've got one. Anyone ever heard of HomeBot? Are you using it, Jeff?
Yeah, we use it. Yeah, we've got people in there.
Kate,
Every
you
month they
using
get
it?
their automated stuff.
I
Anybody
use it.
else?
I've seen, yeah, I actually get to monitor people who go onto it and see what they're kind of like looking at.
That's exactly right. So
HomeBot's awesome. I mean, $50 a month. We split it with a lender. 25. That's the best $25 I spend every month.
let me try to find my screen that has my HomeBot because I'm going to share. It's really important. So it's really a lender program. Just so you understand what HomeBot is, it's really a lender-driven program because it's really looking at the financial aspect of your home. And what's really awesome and what I really like about it, it's one thing to send out, hey, your home's worth this. Here's your estimated values. That's kind of cool. I think most people like to kind of see their value of their home. That's one element. What if I could tell you how much your house would rent for every month or every day, daily rate on your house? Now, some of you may not be important, but it now takes you from my home is a place I live, and now it's now a financial investment. And I want to encourage people to start looking at their home as a financial investment, not just a place to live. Okay. That's an important distinction. So when you do that, and I start looking at, okay, what's refi look like? Okay, I've got 100,000 in equity. What can I do with that? Right. That starts changing the way people respond and interact with you. And now you're just not another agent telling them what their house is worth. So I've got, in 30 days, I've sent out 184 homes. 58 of them had home views, 141 opens in general. And what it does is it starts creating this. This is what he was talking about. He can see what people are looking at. Okay. I have people on here I have not sold homes to, but I have on my primary list. I have a strong relationship with them. But I haven't even sold. I didn't sell a house to Carlos. I didn't sell a house to Edna. Actually, I didn't sell a house to Jeff. Jeff's my uncle and he lives in Alabama, but I didn't sell him a house. But I have him on HomeBot and he's able to see the values on his home. I even have Abby in here. It's funny. She's on the call because before she got into real estate, I sold them a number of properties, but I sold them a rental property and I've got a rental property in there. So it's kind of fun. So Abby's the one that was talking earlier. Keith, I didn't sell him a house, but now I'm staying engaged with him. I know him by first name and he's staying engaged with me and he's able to see his house. So what do they see? So this is what actually comes to them is a preview digest. Now, again, this is above and beyond your house is worth 330,000. It just looks at it as more of an investment. Look, like right here has estimated value. Of course, we'll start with that. But what if I told you that you have $193,000? Your house isn't just what it's worth. It's also the equity aspect of it. And what if, you have up to 491 purchasing power because it's able to connect with your house and what you can afford. And then right now you've got $59,000 of equity. You can weather a storm if something happens, and of course it has the payment adjusters. If you put some of those things in, it has refi options. And then right here, if you bought another home, how much could you afford? It talks about purchase value, rent your house out and buy another house. No one thinks about this. I just love that it creates a way for us to have conversations beyond just everyone automatically thinks about selling your house. I can't tell you how many agents I've talked to that have been in selling, that bought and sell homes before they got into real estate, even ones that have licenses today. And I ask them, did you sell a house? They sell their house to buy a house. You're in real estate. You should be building net worth. Okay. This stuff should be second nature to you. I coach everyone I work with. I know everybody's situation doesn't allow them to do buy-in rentals, but owning a house, you should never sell your home until you need to sell your home for whatever serious reason. But just to go buy another house, you guys know how to, you can buy a house with nothing out of pocket using your commission. Has anyone ever taught you guys that? I know we're going off topic, but you can actually leverage your commission. I know it's off topic. You can leverage your commission to buy a home. Then don't sell your house. Don't refi your house. Don't HELOC your house to buy another house. We'll do that on another training call. All right. Monthly home values. I showed you HomeBot. Semi-annual comps for specific neighborhoods. So this is just like, your neighborhood, you got to really know your database. So you're going to connect with them. You're going to send them comps. You're going to send it to them twice a year, December and right before the summer hits. So we're going to make sure we stay in front of them, showing all the solds. Really good, valuable option there. And then so I've got some other moderate options where we can talk about specific real estate things that we can coach and teach our audience. How do we fight our property taxes is one I said earlier. Wouldn't that be a value? It's one thing to say, hey, go file for your homestead. Valuable video. What if I told you could fight the CAD, the appraisal district, and win? And I'm going to show you how to do that. You think any of your buyers or sellers would have some interest in that? And it's not hard. I've got a video on mine. You could copy mine. All I did is watch some newscasts and watch some various things on how to do it. And then I told people how to do it. That's all I did. Current market challenges and events, federal impact on rates, the Fed, adjust rates. How does that impact and you can talk about all those kind of things. Text personal messages to see how they're doing. It doesn't have to be about real estate. Just text them a message. Say, hey, I just want to see how you're doing. I haven't talked to you in a while. We're not here to engage just real estate all the time. In fact, it has more value when you don't. The most powerful thing you're going to do, the highest level of conversion, it's not seeing your Facebook post. It's not seeing your newsletter. They're not going to think of you specifically there. They'll call you out of the blue based on that. But it's when you pick up the phone and call them and see how they're doing in person, not to talk real estate. Inevitably, they're going to say, hey, by the way, my brother's thinking about selling. Those conversations allow them to bring it out. That's not your job. Your job is just to stay in front of them and engaged, and stay consistent. I'm not going to talk about any of that. So I'm not even going to go through my specific plan. If you go through all this, because I'm actually already up to 11, if you add up all the touches, you're looking at, you really want to be 40 touches a year. So work up a systematic plan using a lot of these tips to get you to touch 40 times a year. Your entire database your entire primary database should be connected on LinkedIn, Facebook, social media. They should all be connected there. They should be easy gimmies on staying in front of them. Those are free, easy gimmies to stay in front of them. Post positive events and personal experiences 80% of the time, and real estate 20% of the time. No one wants to hear talking real estate head all the time. You must keep an active database of touches to continually get referrals all year. A company with only a customer service department is doomed to failure. If you don't have an active, ongoing business of recruiting or adding people into your database, then you're just a customer service department and you're doomed to failure. All right, that's all I got. We came up. I hit it 11 o'clock. Hope that works for you guys.
Boom,
Anything
boom.
else, Jeff?
No, it was awesome. It was good stuff. Guys, in HomeBot, you mentioned that. One of the things that I noticed on there, and that's the thing that I see with ours, you have 76% open rate on those emails going out, which is huge. It's huge for an open rate on emails. That's the thing I love about HomeBot, guys. Look into that if you're not using it. Very cheap. You can split it with a lender. It's $50 a month, but we do it. And we have a lender that covers half of it, so $25, and it's awesome. You get a great open rate. You can see what they're doing, and somebody that's look every month they open it, and they're looking 3 and 4 times a month. That's somebody to reach out to. They're looking to do something, most likely. And you can track all that. It shows you all that. So that's a good tool to use. But who's got a question? Any questions? We'll wrap it up here in a second. Any comments, questions? Good stuff. I mean, seriously, if you work that, build it up to 100 people, 250 people. You said 250 people. What did you say? 35 deals? You know, if you're doing this right.
Yes. Yes.
That's awesome. Those numbers are so good, you know, and referrals, best thing you can get. Who's got a comment or a question? Anybody? Alex,
I
go
do.
ahead.
Thanks, Jeff. Hey, Shaune, I live in Miami Beach, and it's more of, and my database actually extends as far back as New Jersey and Canada. So for me, it's mostly second homes, vacation homes, investment properties. Any tips or suggestions when it comes to having a database that's not local?
Yeah, I don't care where they're at. You can educate anyone in real estate as a part of your ongoing, process. 100%. I'd be honest with you. I would say, and I'm here, I don't have people buying vacation homes. I have people buying rentals, but I probably say at least 50% of my business is, and the reason why I sell so many houses is because I can keep doing it over and over again. And I do it with people that I've sold houses, it was one thing to sell houses, not even go look at it. I sell houses through text, not even meet them, not go to closing, not do anything, just text. And you can get to that point with investors when you have that kind of relationship and those type of opportunities. That's a particular field I'm pretty comfortable with. I would educate. I think being in front of them and educating is always a good thing. And touch people. I mentioned this before. You can touch them. I don't care if they're in New Jersey and you're in Miami. They know people, and they know people that are looking for investment properties. That's one way they immediately connect to you today. But what happens when they're ready to sell? They need to think of you first. Even if there's no way that you're comfortable doing a deal in New Jersey, and that's cool, then say, hey, I've got a partner. He's an icon. He sells a ton of real estate. He's going to take good care of you. Let me have him start showing you houses. And when you attach your name to somebody specifically in your database within EXP, super easy to get that conversation. You guys should connect with anybody in the US. It doesn't matter where they live. But how you communicate with investors versus retail is a little different, and that's okay. We'll just tailor it to them. What else you got?
Shaune, it reminds me what you're saying, and Alex, that question, just like, I mean, how, like, it reminds me, I need to get the word out because I've got, there's 5,000 people that are friends with me on Facebook. They're all over the place, all over the country, and even in other countries. I mean, I just need to let them know that, man, I got business partners all over the place. If you know anybody looking to buy or sell, let me know. I can definitely hook them up with a great agent, and just whatever. There's ways to get that out there, to get referrals that way. And I just haven't even thought about that, so.
I put a link in the comments for my YouTube channel. You can click on it. It goes right to my YouTube channel.
There you go.
Subscribe. I'm going to have a lot of content like this that I'm going to continue to help educating. My year this year is focused on building my sphere of influence. Next year, it's going to be on educating agents. I'm going to continue to build on that. It's a passion that I have.
Cool. For those of you guys that do subscribe to Keep It Current Matters, once a week they do that video where they give you the script, right? And that it's like a weekly thing, the real talk they call it. One idea that you could do too, if you wanted to up that and do more videos a week, take that daily blog and, you could turn that into a script. You could let AI turn it into a minute-long video script for you. So you could do a reel off of that blog. It might be longer than a minute if you just read that copy, but you could have AI, ChatGPT, turn it into a 55-second script or X number of words, figure out what that is for you, and turn that daily blog. You could do 5 of those a week if you wanted to, and just using that daily blog, to turn it into a video. So
one quick, let me do the Eva bot. Go ahead, Kate.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, you can make your own script too on the script making feature. So you could then plug that, Jeff, into the script and have it done for you.
Cool.
You can also do it on RPR if you have that.
There you go. Cool. EvaBot, that's the program that you use to get.
Yeah, someone asked about it. I forgot to. Yeah, it's staying in front of people and following up with them. Give me a second. I forget. It doesn't work on Chrome. You have to use Edge. So let me stop share and then reset share on my Edge.
How does it compare to, like, I know a lot of people use send out cards. How does it compare to send out cards? Is it similar?
So I'm gonna tell you what it is real quick. It's a gift giving program. And what's cool about it is it will send, let's say I close a client. And when I close a client, I can send them a link coming from me. And the link will now allow them to go on, and then they can pick out things they like. Okay. They like alcohol. They like sports. They like technology. They have dogs, everything about them. And it's real fast. It only takes them, 30, 40 seconds. They're just clicking on, I like that. I like, don't like that. I like that. And then it kind of defines who they are and what they like. And then I set the budget. Okay. So I can go anywhere from $30 to, I think 1,000. I mean, you can get pretty high if you want to. And I've been doing this for a few years now. And so every year, like Nick Hamilton, I met him actually as an open house or something. And then every year I sent him a gift on his birthday, or I'm sorry, to his house as a home anniversary gift. So now I'm in front of Nick every year, once a year, I at least have the home bot sending him messages. Carol Landis, it was a friend of my Bible study. It was their parents. So I sent her a gift, and it shows you what they send them. Robert Plunk, teacher at my wife's school. Cindy Alvarengo, it's a person that was installing my Vivid system. It was her husband. And then, I connected with her on selling a house. So these are all people I've met through just different things, but I stay in front of them and I don't have any other relationship with them. So it allows me to stay in front of them. So anyway, I've been doing this for a long time. I think it's an easy way to stay in front of, people. And, I think it's a pretty clever system, and it's not very expensive. I probably spend, because my database has gotten pretty large, I probably spend $400 to $500 a month on it. But for a warm market, consistently in front of them, that's a pretty low price to pay to stay in front of them. For me, that's the way I kind of look at it.
Sure. I think you should add me in there, Shaune. I'm your friend.
I should add, do I need to put everybody that's leave a bus?
My birthday is October 14th. If you want to send
Mine's the 18th. So we're like birthday buddies.
There you go. So any other questions, guys, comments, thoughts? We will wrap it up. We're a little over. Great stuff. Honestly, I think if you take like last week, we talked about database stuff. There's a lot of ideas there. Take this right here, but almost like a part two, kind of combine these together. Man, there's no way you can't pick up an extra 20, 30 deals this year if you just work this right, seriously. And this on top of everything else that we've been doing, there's so many ways to have a really good year. I'm just telling you. So, but you got to put this stuff into action. Coming to these every Tuesday and then, go out and do nothing with it. That doesn't help. I took that Google training and applied it. I don't know. We've had a lot of closings the last 12 months from these Tuesday masterminds. So, Contact Plus, I'm looking into it, Shaune. Good stuff. Gonna start doing some other things here. So, any other questions, comments? We'll wrap it up. Everybody's good? Shaune, thank you very much, man. Totally appreciate it. I know you're busy. We appreciate your time so much. Great content as always. So really appreciate it. Guys, this recording will be up on the YouTube channel and in the workplace group later today. So if you want to watch it again, take down some notes, for sure. And we'll be back next Tuesday. It's the first Tuesday of February. We will have our just first Tuesday open mastermind. So just kind of a more general discussion, anything and everything you guys want to talk about real estate, and we'll jump into that. So come back next week for sure. Those are always good. We've had some great discussions there every month as well. So we'll see you next week, guys. If you need help, call any one of us. We're here to help you. So appreciate it, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you.
guys.
Have a great night.
Thank
All
you.
right.